Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well, and I'm here to preview the game between India A and New Zealand A. This will be a very interesting and important game, as if India A wins this one, they seal the series and then are able to also probably do some more experiments in the last game. While for New Zealand A, it's a battle of survival. If they win this one, they square it up for the final game. Now, looking at the whole combination and how you can really set up your team for this game, the reason I decided to preview this one is because there'll be a lot of toss related picks for you. And secondly, from whatever I understood of the journalists who were present in the ground, there was some movement from the Chennai pitch up front, something which we don't typically see, especially as the pitch is known to be slower in nature. But probably as the series progresses, that would also be the case, so that would make it more interesting. So let's see who are the picks that we can make. So Dean Cleaver bats in the top three. Maybe if there's lesser help first up, he will be a good pick, but otherwise, while chasing, he'll be the better pick. While if India bats first, then Sanju Samson. Then in the batting section, now if India bat first, it might be worthy for you to take a punt on one of the two openers. But if they're chasing, it would be risky for you to do that. Rajat Patidar, from whatever we read and from the scorecard, he looked in pretty smooth flow and he also batted well in those test games. While your other option is Rahul Tripathi, will also bowl a bit. For now, I'm going with him. Apart from that, if Mark Chapman plays, he'll be a good option as he can bowl some left arm spin too. Then in the all rounders, I'll go with Ripon, Ravindra, and Seen Solia. Seen Solia, if he's bowling first, can get some help from the deck up front, and he'll also bat at an important position. So I think he will be pretty important for you. Then from the Indian order, if Shardul Thakur bowls first, he will continue to stay in my team. Kuldeep Yadav will stay in the team in both scenarios. I felt like the New Zealand batting lost the plot a little bit against Kuldeep Sen in the last game, but I don't know if that'll happen every time. Logan Van Beek will be important in both scenarios as he can also contribute with the bat for you. Now you can see we have one slot left, which will be very interesting for you to decide. I think Umran Malik is going to be a good option here as he'll be desperate to prove himself. He has been on the Indian bench sideline for quite a long time now, and I think this series will be a really good chance for him to prove that he might be a good backup option come any sort of injuries or lack of reserves in Australia with his pace and bounce. So I think that's a good choice. Now, who do you look at as rotations in this team or differentials in this team? I think Chad Boyce, if he is chasing, will be a good option. Same goes for Dane Cleaver if he is chasing. And I think it is worthy to take a risk on one of these two guys if India is batting first, because then you have someone like Rajat Patidar who's a very good option in the middle order. Mark Chapman, I already mentioned to you. When you look at the all rounders here, Shahbaz Ahmed bowled a few overs but didn't really look in too much of rhythm, so would be risky for you to make that pick. I think from the bowlers, Kuldeep Yadav, if he's bowling second, will be good Grand League captaincy, vice captaincy choice even in your mini GLs. So I think that is what the setup for me looks like. As far as your mini GL teams are concerned, captaincy, vice captaincy choices. If India is bowling first, then you continue to go with Shardul, and your vice captain could be someone like Kuldeep. While if they're bowling second, you could probably reverse that. And in that scenario, I've already mentioned the kind of risks that you can take in the keeping and batting section. So that is what the setup for me looks like for this specific game. Now we can look at the exchange 22 picks for this one. So looking at the exchange 22 picks, I think you have a lot of interesting options here. What is the USP of the exchange 22 app? You can go with just one or two players or three players based on how many players you want to pick. Not necessary that you have to make a team of 11 players. You just pick or drop the players who you feel are going to or not going to perform in the specific game. So when you look at the buys first up from India, I think there are a lot of overpriced players here. Sanju Samson at 58. At 58, you're essentially saying he should take either a lot of catches or he should cross 50 runs only to reach cost. Well, if you sell him at 52 and he does not get 52 points in the game at real time, you get a certain amount of profit based on the amount of difference. Look at this price for Shardul Thakur, rupees 60 means even if he takes 2 wickets, you still get a profit if you sell him. So I feel like let's look at the sells from the Indian section, as I feel like they're very highly overpriced. I think Shardul Thakur at 54 is a very good sell, because even if he takes 2 wickets, you're still going to be in a certain amount of profit zone, while if he takes even lesser, then the profit is even more. Then your other sell options from here, I think if Prithvi Shaw batting first is a good sell option. Same for Uttaraj Gaikwad. As far as the buys are concerned, for me, I think Rajat Patidar, if batting first at 40, should get an opportunity. Kuldeep Yadav, if bowling second at 50, if he takes a good amount of wickets, he will be very good in that scenario. And Umran Malik, if bowling first at 44 at 2 wickets or more, would be a good buy. So I think that is from the India section. From the New Zealand section, when you look at the options, again you see some very overpriced players here at rupees 64 and rupees 60. Especially with New Zealand not being in too much of form, it would be difficult for you to back players to really buy at that price. But you can probably sell these players in certain scenarios. Like if you expect low score from New Zealand again, then these two would be the sells to make from this section. So generally, I'm more inclined to buys, but I think in this game there are quite a few players that have been overpriced, especially looking at the scenario that the first game was pretty low scoring. So you can check out this app. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoyed this preview. I will try to cover the final teams on the Fantasy Cricket Pro Telegram channel if I'm available. Else, you can use this preview to make your final teams. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the good luck to you.